Chapter 5.1, Estimating Sums and Differences. Your vocab word for today is benchmark. A benchmark is a number that we round a fraction to when we are estimating. The three benchmarks are 0, 1/2, and 1. These are your three benchmarks. So this chart helps us to kind of identify which benchmark you need to round to. So a general rule of thumb or a thing to think about when you're asking yourself, what benchmark does this fraction round to, is there a very small difference between the numerator and the denominator? If there's a large difference, your fraction is going to round to 0. If there's a very small difference between your numerator and your denominator, for example 7/8, then your benchmark is going to round to 1. If your numerator is about half of your denominator, give or take a little bit, then you're probably going to round to half. Now there are some things that you want to consider. For example, when you're working with thirds, I'm going to make that a little bit darker so you can see it. Sorry about that. So when you have 2/3, for example, 2 is close to 3, except that if I was to convert this to a decimal, I would actually have 0.6 repeating. Well, if I convert my benchmarks to decimals, I have, of course, 0, 0.5, and 1. Well, 0.6 is actually closer to 0.5, so 2/3 is actually going to round to the benchmark of 1/2. So if you're not quite sure, a good thing to do is to find the decimal equivalent of your fraction and use that to determine which benchmark it is closest to. Okay? So let's take a look at example 1. Choose the benchmark for 7/16 inches. Well, I know that half of 16 is 8, and 7 is close to 8, so 7/16 will round to the benchmark 1/2. Now, when you are doing your assignment, this is what I expect to see. I expect to see the original problem, the arrow showing that you are rounding, and then your answer with the box around it in this format. If I do not see the original problem, the arrow, and your rounded answer, you will not receive full credit. Okay? Example 2. Estimate 7/2 plus 7/12, plus 4/5. So again, you must write the original problem. 7/12 plus 4/5. I'm going to round both of these. So 7/12, half of 12 is 6, and 7 is close to 6. So 7/12 is going to round to the benchmark 1/2. 4/5, 4/5 as a decimal is 0.8. 0.8 is closer to 1 than to 1/2. So this will round to 1. So 1 plus 1/2 equals about 1 and 1/2. Again, I need to see your original addition or subtraction problem, see you rounding by using the arrows to show your benchmarks, and then show your final answer with the box around it. Okay, example 3. Dave is 62 3/4 inches tall. Lena is 54.5 inches tall. Estimate the difference in their heights. So, keyword here, difference. Difference is going to tell me that I'm going to be subtracting. So, I have 62 3/4 minus 54 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and use benchmarks for this. 62 3/4. 3/4 is going to round to a whole. So this is going to round up to 63 inches. 54, you know what, I wrote the problem wrong. This should actually say, I apologize. This should say 54 1/4 inches. Now you'll actually have to round. All right. So 54 1/4. We're going to go ahead and round a fourth down, partly because I have a large number. I want to leave this as whole numbers. It's just going to make it a little bit easier. If I just had 3/4 and 1/4, I would probably round 1/4 up to half. But because I have 54 inches, I'm going to go ahead and round it down to a full 54. When you are working with whole numbers versus very small individual fractions, you can use your best judgment. Okay, so 63 minus 54. 63 minus 54 is 9 inches. So Dave is about 9 inches taller than Lena. And your sentence for your word problem is your answer. Okay, that's it for examples. Do your QCs and your CYU, and I will answer any questions the next time I see you.